You wrote a review of Alan Dershowitz's new book
Yes.
on Donald Trump. The title of that book is Get Trump, The Threat to Civil Liberties, Due Process, and Our Constitutional Rule of Law. Can you summarize this book and your review of it?
Yes. By the way, I co-authored it with my research assistant, who's sitting right here.
Emily.
Yes. And I thought that the book was another example of the fact that everybody is entitled to a defense, and that Alan's being involved with Trump was purely professional. It was not political. It was not philosophical. And I thought that the fact that he was being criticized, he was being shunned because of his connection to Trump, I found very interesting that this is a guy who represented such, I call them distasteful figures, as Klaus von Bülow, as Mike Tyson, as O.J. Simpson, as Sheldon Siegel. And when he was considered to be a skillful lawyer, made his reputation. And then he represents Donald Trump, who, to my knowledge, never killed anybody. And he's suddenly shunned. I thought the hypocrisy of it, the political preening, was very distasteful to me. And it was not only because he was my friend. If he wasn't my friend, I think I'd have the same view. The holier than thou nonsense, the hypocrisy of it. They wouldn't talk to him on Martha's Vineyard now. Alan and I are different. I'm not so sensitive. Someone doesn't want to talk to me, no problem at all. But Alan is, considering how controversial his life has been,
is somewhat sensitive.
He's somewhat sensitive, and I'm telling Alan, Alan, don't let it get to you.
Hey, I can relate. I can definitely relate. Taking on some controversial conversations, still wear my heart on my sleeve. It hurts. All of it hurts.
Yep.
But maybe the pain makes you a better student of human nature.
Yep.
Maybe that's the case for him. Nevertheless, the book makes a complicated and I think an interesting point. He opens the book with, now that Donald Trump has announced his candidacy for re-election as president, the unremitting efforts by his political opponents to, quote, get him, to stop him from running at any cost will only increase. These efforts may pose the most significant threat to civil liberty since McCarthyism. So is he right?
He's absolutely right. Because these attempted, for example, the prosecution, the one prosecution that has been brought now with Alvin Bragg, in the Manhattan. I have looked at that, and I don't believe that Trump has committed a crime. And yet Bragg was pressured to bring that. People in his office were threatening to quit if he didn't indict. Wholly improper, wholly unethical, and he's going to lose the case. Has Trump committed crimes? Yes. Mostly they're tax crimes. If he has cheated on taxes his whole career, as far as I could tell. He could easily be indicted for state and federal taxes, but they're not as sexy. And I think that he's become a target by ambitious politicians, ambitious prosecutors. He has gotten some sympathy, which he doesn't deserve. And a lot of it is, pardon the phrase, political correctness. The better people are not supposed to be Trumpers. Mm-hmm. I had an interesting experience about Trump. I had two interesting experiences. The more recent one was I was in the house of Lawrence Summers, the former president of Harvard, who was driven out by political correctness, by the way. He insulted women biologists. I was in his house when he was still president of Harvard, when the Trump-Hillary Clinton contest took place. And I was with Elsa. We were invited to Summers' house in Brookline. And it looked like Hillary was going to win. And the Harvard faculty members, they were all celebrating. They were all figuring out what their cabinet positions were going to be, blah, 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 blah. And then about 11:30 at night, all of a sudden it was announced that in terms of electoral votes, Trump had just eked out a victory, that Hillary beat him in the popular vote, but he had won the electoral college. And there was an immediate depression. And that was
meaning like a quiet over the room.
the room became absolutely stone silent, and they were all disappointed. Well, that was a memorable moment, and it told me that they were a little bit too overconfident. They were savoring being part of a presidential administration. Ambition had been thwarted. I'm not a great fan of preening ambition. I think it blinds people to realities.
And the resulting arrogance from such ambition.
And the arrogance, yes. It's one of the reasons I didn't accept Jim Vorenberg's offer to be part of the academic community. I mean, I represent professors. I have friends who are professors. I represent students. I have friends who are students. And I have a great regard for universities and higher education. But I was not about to become part of the culture. I thought that it was not good for me and not good for the institution either.
That can a culture that can breed arrogance.
Yes.
Self-importance.
Yep.
And in a sense, the election of Donald Trump was a big FU to such.
Correct. Which is why I think he managed to pull it off.